here's one very important question that any sort of young entrepreneur or millennial or anyone looking to start a business, here's one important question that you should ask yourself. And there's multiple right answers to this, which we're going to cover. Which one would be best for you? So here's the question. Would you rather make $1 million once in 1 year from one product, and that's it, or would you rather have a business with multiple streams of income that maybe makes $100,000 or $200,000 in your first year, but it's guaranteed to grow over time? And this is a very, very important question here, because these are essentially the two types of businesses that people start when you actually start selling stuff. You're either, we're just going to get into this here. So let's say we're going to cover the $1 million here. We're going to cover, you sell one product, right? One product, and you make tons of money. You are the ShamWow, okay? You are the ShamWow. You are the, what are some of those other things here? We're going to cover fidget spinners. Let's go fidget spinners. You are an amazing fidget spinner seller. And this is, maybe you're selling them to stores, maybe you're selling them on Amazon, maybe you're selling them in person, whatever. You make an $8 profit for some reason on fidget spinners, okay? You make $8 profit and you sell 120,000 of them, okay? You're doing super, super well. However, what happens after you make that $1 million? What happens? And this is the moral of what I'm trying to get across to you guys. And there's two things. So it all comes down to this thing called sustainability, actually. Is that I spelled it? Sustainability. Hopefully I spelled that right. Sustainability. Okay. So what would you rather have? Would you rather come into that $1 million very quickly or have a slow growing business? So here's some of the advantages. Obviously getting $1 million profit, that's more success than 99% of businesses will have. So most people would take this. However, I guess this can be an extremely successful, it can turn into an extremely successful business if you know how to sell and do other things. So you're the super successful fidget spinner seller. However, you don't know how to sell anything else. Maybe the next product you try to sell hair dryers or something like that, and it doesn't pan out. Maybe you try and sell some other toys and it doesn't pan out because you don't know how to sell them, you don't know how to market them. Maybe the trends aren't as hot as the fidget spinners. And so you've put all of your eggs into this one basket and you made a lot of money, but it's not sustainable. And you haven't focused on other things. You haven't focused on marketing or branding or multiple streams of income. So you've made so much money from this one thing. However, you don't know how to do anything else. And so that's usually the downside. And I've seen this. I've seen this in real life. People have one really great product that they capitalize on, and then what happens? They go broke. Because people that do this, a lot of the times they go out there, after they make $1 million, they'll go buy the fancy car, they'll go buy the big house right away. They won't save up any of their money. They're thinking that this income is going to last forever. However, a lot of the times, this is just a trend. A lot of the times, whatever you're selling here, and you have one product that does really well, it's just a trend. Although, some counterpoints here is that if it isn't a trend, you could be the largest market shareholder of a product that sells for 20 years. And so that can be a great business and you can make $20 million, okay? And you can do very, very well. So would you rather have a kind of business like this, where you are heavily reliant on one product, but you're guaranteed to make tons of money in at least 1 year and catching on a trend like fidget spinners? Or would you rather have the slow business, the slow grow? We're going to call it a slow grow. So in the slow growing business, you have multiple income streams, multiple streams. You're not reliant on one product. And you know what? We're going to compare this actually. So this person has been selling fidget spinners on Amazon, and they've been doing super well. So this person down here, maybe we're going to say that they sell on Amazon as well. However, maybe they build an entire brand or business around outdoors wear. So maybe they're selling shoes, they're selling jackets, they're selling tents and fishing rods and whatever, even summer wear and summer gear and stuff like that, all the outdoors wear stuff. They're selling whatever, life jackets, whatever, paddles, okay, surfboards, whatever, who knows, right? You're building up an entire brand or business, You're building up an entire brand or business. However, you're only making $100,000 here or $200,000 here, and you're making $1 million here in your first year. This has a lot more potential to grow. if you are somewhat diversified in your business and you have multiple streams of income and you can adapt, that's the other important thing too. So if one of these person's products fails, so if your jackets aren't selling, or if your paddle boards aren't selling, you still have your tents to sell and your fishing rods and your shoes and things along those lines. So this is the sustainability here. This is the sustainability. So people will take this $1 million, and if you are really smart and you know how to build other businesses, I would take that too. I would definitely take that too. However, I mean, to be honest, this is the strategy that I'm going right here, to be honest. Doing a lot of things, having multiple streams of income, having 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 things that you sell. And so if one tanks, like we've seen this for YouTube, I always bring up this example. The YouTube adpocalypse. Now, it didn't affect me whatsoever. My YouTube income actually went up. But you're seeing tons of YouTubers, they were heavily reliant on YouTube as their only source of income, their AdSense as their only source of income. And then because the YouTube adpocalypse came along, their income for that one source dropped by 86%. And a lot of people quit. A lot of people went off YouTube. Now, some people had to adapt and went to things like Patreon, taking donations, selling stuff like t-shirts and so on. You know, the best example of this, so for example, we're going to compare the $1 million one, which is, we're going to say that's the H3 Productions. Okay, let's say they were making $100,000 a year, $200,000 a year from their videos. They are a comedy channel. They were reliant on AdSense for their income. And down here, we have someone like a Philip DeFranco who sells shirts and does Patreon and is on other platforms, is doing the podcasting and stuff like that too. And they're selling posters and all that stuff. They have multiple streams of income. I'm sure he gets paid to do public stuff too, right? And so what would you rather be? Would you rather be quick, make that $1 million quick? Or would you rather have that sustainable, more stable, slow growth business? Although I'll give you the downsides to the slow growth too. If you are too slow at building that business, then you're not going to make any money because your competitors are going to pass you, and you might have one competitor that goes all in on one of your products or a couple of your products and puts you out of business. And so there are downsides and upsides to both of these, and so that's why I say that there's 2 right answers here. I think that a lot of people that tend to do this and make $1 million quickly right away from one product, they tend to be stupid with their money. That's just what I have seen. A lot of people, when they come into a lot of money quick, they are just really bad with their money and they end up going broke. The slow, sustainable business, you value every dollar in revenue you get. Every single increase in revenue, it's valuable because you started out making 50 grand, or you started out with 0 and then 50 grand in a year, and then 100 grand in a year, and then 200, and you know how to spend your money, you know how to be frugal, but up here you're going from 0 to $1 million. And I think that's what the moral of this video is. What would you rather have? I mean, in all honesty, I'd have $1 million and then build a slow growing business, but my strategy is the slow growing multiple streams of income business. What would you guys rather have? And this is completely like, if you want to, I'd like you to leave a comment. Seriously, leave a comment down below. What would you rather have? The one takeoff fidget spinner product or the slow growing outdoors jackets and whatever business? So that's the moral of this. So I think that's going to wrap this video up. A little bit of a shorter video today. So make sure to leave a comment here. And if you liked this, if you want to learn how to build business, side business, check out the Wealth Accelerator course or the stock market course in the link below. I have I think in the Wealth Accelerator, I kind of teach you how to build a side business and a business and things along those lines, what it takes. And it's how long is the course? 12 hours or something like that? I mean, I've got a lot of content. It's 30-something videos on there. So if you're interested in that, make sure you check it out in the link below. And please leave a comment on this because a lot of people are torn on this. And I just do not, if you are to sell this one product, so this is for all of you that are selling stuff online now that I've been, kind of showing you guys what you can do and stuff. If you're selling one product online now, just make sure you're not stupid with your money and make sure you branch out. That's how you build a business. Actually, we should close this out with I was watching Shark Tank actually this morning when I was eating breakfast, and the investors, the sharks, simply were not investing in one company because it was a one product company. It was one product. It was a bag company. And so they didn't really want to invest. It was a bag. I think it was a bag, right? Oh, no, that was the firefighter one. I know something else on that episode. It was a one product company, and the sharks were like, look, you're one product. We can't really expand this too much, and so I'm out. That's what they were saying here. And I agree with that. I mean, if I'm not comfortable with only having a one product business, I would never be comfortable with that. And so maybe you guys are. I don't really know. Maybe you guys can turn into the, I don't know, what's a company that's been really sustainable that only sells one product? I guess you guys should leave a comment down below for that too. Seriously, what is a company that has made millions and tens of millions or billions of dollars only doing one thing or selling one product? We're not talking about an oil company, okay? We're not talking about a mining company that, you know, digs up gold and copper and whatever. We're talking mainly about like retail stuff, like a one sale product. So anyways, that's going to wrap this video up. I'd like to thank you very much for watching. You're all very beautiful people, and I'll see you guys in the next video.